Well, here we are at About the Albums yet again. And the remastered album we're talking about this time is I'm Phoning It In. So the idea for this one is that essentially I was just making more songs just because I liked making songs, and I was just, just going through the motions, doing it, phoning it in, as one would say. And actually, I think I did actually think of doing a bit of, like, trying to record something on the phone, or, like, me calling my phone and then, like, recording audio through the phone, so you get, like, phone-sounding audio for something, but I never actually did that, because that's, like, that'll be hard. But, I think I ended up getting this one out around in December, so I'd get out around like Christmas, because I think I gave it to, burned copies to family members or whatever. I don't have any official ones released or anything, so I did that. Just I thought that would be a neat thing to add in to slip into the presents there. And that's really all there is for prefacing this, I guess. The other thing is that just to remind you guys, there are going to be timestamps to see each song individually in the description. There's also links to the full songs to listen to all those, and a link to the album if you want to just listen to the whole album. And if you still got questions at the end, go ahead and you can leave comments and be like, hey, you didn't answer this one, what about this? And I'll try to answer those as best I can in the comments. But let's just put all this yammering on hold and see what's calling out to us here. I didn't have another good word for it, I'm sorry. Phoning it in, I am phoning it in, here's Sam, phoning it in. I'm Phoning It In is the title track, following the long tradition of starting the album with the title track. And it's a lot of just kind of rhyming things, with like the layered voices. I have like 2 voice tracks, but like I'm just doing it so you can kind of overlap the lines a little bit, which is kind of a neat sound, and easier to do, to have things follow that quickly with one another. So weirdly, I didn't do like a phone sound effect anywhere in it, despite there being a phone tone on the keyboard. I don't know why I didn't do that for this one. I had a weird like bird noise thing going on, and just like I like the really like quirky like lines of like the bass and instruments and stuff. I like that it's like I'm singing and then like the stuff's going on, and then between it it's like quieter, and it's like the string things or the little bits like dancing around in there. I don't know. It's kind of a light, fun, goofy way to start the album. And I also kind of like the line where it's saying, how do I sound? And on the first one, I legitimately just like had kind of like something in my throat, much like I do right now. But it kind of didn't come out, so it's like, how do I sound? Like, you can't really hear the first part of how do I sound on the first one. So I thought that kind of like worked out funnily well. So this is the start of me phoning it in, and hopefully you don't hang up on this video. Hail to the king, hail to the king, hail to the king, hail to the king, baby. Hail to the King is a song about Duke Nukem, popular game series, game character, and mostly this refers to Duke Nukem 3D, the big breakout game that everybody knows, released in the 90s, and then make some references to Duke Nukem Forever a little bit as well. And this is one where the music doesn't really sound like, I like the music, but it doesn't really sound that much like it fits Duke Nukem. I really just had the song kind of like prep ready for like verses and chorus, and everything. And then I had the idea to try like making it about Duke Nukem because I had a few lines that popped into my head. I think I've been playing a lot of Duke Nukem 3D a lot at the time. And then it was like, as I went on, I kept doing this, and like lyrically, I'm really proud of this one because this shouldn't have worked, but I kept coming up with good like lines to throw in there because I knew Duke Nukem pretty well, and I was just magically finding like lines like, oh, that fits, that's good, as he does that, and I kind of like follow some of the flow of like the game where it's like, he gets his ride shot down and he crashes and pulls out a pistol and he starts like going through and like, killing aliens and stuff, saving babes and whatever, and then like he goes up into space and he like kills like a dude there, and then like comes back to Earth to get rid of the rest of the fucking aliens that are hanging out there. And then like references Duke Nukem Forever, and it's like, so if they come back, so is he. So like, I don't know, I like that. And of course, "Hail to the King" is one of the lines he says in the game, which I believe he lifted from. Is that from Evil Dead? I don't know. I think. I could be wrong. A lot of the lines are lifted from other things, but that Duke charm really goes a long way. He's a fun character, and I don't know, just it was a fun one that like I really like that it came out that way lyrically, and then there's the end line as well with. After all of it ends and I just say "Hail to the King," I say the line, and I try to do my best Duke impression. I don't really sound like John St. John doing Duke Nukem. I sound like me doing Duke Nukem, so not very good, but that's the best you're gonna get out of me. Hail to the King, baby. Aimless soul, aimless soul, aimless soul. Aimless Soul is kind of like this, I'll kind of describe it in there. It kind of reminds me of something like some really vivid painting or like some epic poem, some kind of like story, fantasy story. Going to some like strange land with really interesting like landscapes and creatures that you wouldn't really see in reality. And it's also kind of giving this mood of like kind of just there going for the ride, and you're kind of like looking for something, but you don't really know what you're looking for. You don't know where you want to go, where you should be going, and nothing is really helping you figure it out. So it's sort of like a I guess an allegory, is that the right word? It's for like the aimlessness of like, what do I do with my life? It's kind of about that. And I don't know, I really like it because it's like the way like the bass and like the strings and like the instruments and progression, the way it really just like kind of like slowly flows. And the singing goes into it well. I didn't stretch myself for that, and it actually worked well for this. And I also really like the solo bit of like because it's not even like really much of a solo. It's just like that weird like that like bell sound, whatever, like glass hit kind of thing going on. Even though that just kind of repeats the same thing, it really stands out, and I don't know, I really like that. And then like I like that kind of like fades out on that too. I don't know, this song is just it's as mystifying as I wanted it to be, and that's cool. I like that. And I don't know what else to say about it other than it's pretty bitchin'. When you wake up to see what's underneath the tree, that look inside your eyes, that look of true surprise. Generic Christmas song is just like the title says, a generic Christmas song about singing carols, making the milk and cookies thing out for Santa, waiting for presents and stuff, and just I don't know. It's really basic generic stuff, and I didn't really think it was that good. It's okay. I think the first chorus maybe could have been shorter. It's just, it is very like generic and plain. I don't feel like it stands out much. It just was on there also partly because like, well, hey, I can give it to people for Christmas because there's like a Christmas song on it. I have something to be like, I have a Christmas song. I haven't done one of those really, so that's, I guess, an excuse to do that. But whatever, it's not like it's all that bad. It's just it's generic, and it really only is elevated by the fact that you've probably heard most Christmas songs a fuckload of times already. This one you haven't heard probably ever. Most of you probably ever. Some of you maybe from when it was up before, but most of you probably never heard it. And yeah, that's generic Christmas song for you. Oh, oh, oh no. Like the other ones, but worse, is an instrumental song, I should say. And the title doesn't mean anything because it's instrumental. I guess I just thought it was funny to be like, it's like the other songs, but worse. So, just cool. It's like a little bunch of little guitar parts in there, mostly just like pretty much focus on being like guitar stuff, of that distorted guitar thing, and it kind of reminds me of like video game music, like vaguely of like GoldenEye 64, that, or GoldenEye on Nintendo 64, whatever. The title, I feel like I see the title written so many different ways. I don't know what's official anymore. I'm just here. I'm just on this planet now. So like, I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool, like the Discord, is that what it is? Where it's like, just like, it's very, everything is dissonance. There's a word for when those notes are clashing like that. I can't remember exactly what it is. But I like it, and it's interesting. I don't know, just the whole thing, like doing that, like doing those things, like doing it like on the beat and keeping a musical tone to it. I think it progresses well enough and has like a neat beat. It would be good for like backing music or something. Like it could be used in like a video game. I mean, it would have to be cleaned up audio wise, probably a bit, but yeah, I don't know. It's a neat instrumental number, and the only problem with it is that it could use a better title so that I could remember what the song was before I hit play and be like, what the fuck was this one again? How did this go? This title doesn't tell me anything about the song. I don't retain jack fuck about it afterwards. Riding, screaming, crying, bleeding, trying, dying, helping Satan. Helping Satan was recorded around Halloween, and it was just meant to be like kind of a spooky, scary song. It had a bunch of the weird sound effects of like weird like laughter and different like speeds and pitches there. Like the sound effect in the beginning and in the middle, and I think it was at the end of it too to go out of it. But it had a really crappy music video with it too that I just made in Paint really, really quickly just to have some kind of visuals for it. And it's just about like being in hell and like it being awful and being tormented, but then also like ending up like you end up being one of Satan's minions or helping Satan torture other people in hell, that kind of thing. That's pretty much it. A simple thing like that. There's not a whole lot more to it. It's a fun little like little jam thing going on. I never really liked it that much. But the breakdown's kind of interesting and the weird like sound going there. I do really like the I really like this like when it goes into like the solo bit thing too, and I don't know, like the guitar playing there, that solo, and like the slight echoey like effect on it. I liked that part. I thought that came out cool, but musically it's kind of like, I feel like too often I'm like, I'm gonna make a scary Halloweeny kind of song. Weenie. And then like, yeah, it just ends up all sounding kind of the same, like generic, like this makes stuff sound weird and not good together, and I don't like it. And I don't feel like I'm good at doing that. So that's That's Helping Satan, my Halloweeny song. Weenie. Lions get attacked by lions. Faces scratched by lions. Mauled until I'm dead. Lions in My Head is about some recurring dreams that I had where, like, because it's about dreams in general. The most recurring one I had a lot for some reason was this one where, like, it was just like in my room, and then there's like a lion, and like basically I'm in my bed, and there's a lion between me and the door, and it's like, fuck, how do I get out? I also remember having a dream before, also involving a lion, where it was like I was outside. I was like out on like the deck outside, and there was like a lion in the yard. And, like, I wanted to, like, run inside, but I was scared if I did that, it would, like, try to jump at me and get me. And I was just, like, so, like, afraid that I wouldn't be able to, like, hold still and, like, I would trigger it, that I, like, laid down. And then, like, it went almost like a third-person view and was, like, me looking at myself laying down there and the lion coming up to me and, like, kind of, like, sniffing me as I'm, like, laying there trying not to move. And it just, like, slowly starts, like, sinking its teeth into me. And it's also a bizarre thought that, like, I'm thinking, like, man, what the fuck? I don't feel any of this. I'm like, what the fuck? It was such a weird experience. Then there's the one of, like, I remember that one recurring a lot when I was a kid, where, like, it was like at my grandparents', like, kitchen, and there's, like, a clown there for some reason, and I'm, like, a little kid, and this clown, like, picks me up and just starts, like, kissing me, like, all over my face, and I'm, like, squirming to, like, get away, and I just can't do it. He just keeps doing that, and it's like it was really, like, upsetting. It's not like I have a crazy, like, phobia of clowns or anything, but, like, yeah, that it really could have been anyone. But I think it was just extra, like, that extra layer of, like, I remember that because, like, it was a clown. It wasn't like somebody. It was just like a clown. And it was uncomfortable, man. That one was weird. I don't know why I had that one more than once either. I don't think I brought this up in the list of these. Like, the one I said, like, on a tightrope, and, like, I never had that really, but I always would have those ones where it would be like, I just, like, am falling and just looking, like, face down, like a, like a fucking, like, what Wile E. Coyote sees when he's, like, falling down in Looney Tunes, like, just falling down to, like, and right before I hit the ground, I'd wake up. I think a lot of people have dreams kind of like that. And one that I had a few times that I still remember that it's not really included in here, but I just wanted to bring it up because why not? Was essentially I was in my house, but, like, everything kind of seemed normal except that all of the doors, like, I would like, somehow I'm still, like, ending up, like, I'm just, like, kind of, like, shifting from room to room somehow, almost like it's teleportation or something. Like, when you're in a dream, it all makes sense. When you think about it later, you're like, I don't know how I got to any other rooms this way, but it was like all of like the doorways were, like, way down, so it was like a small, like, the top of the microphone is that, like, there's a small gap, like, only like that big or something, like, as if basically all the doorways had, like, the gap of, like, a door, but, like, the top of the doorway just went down to there. It's like, it was the strangest thing. Like, there's supposed to be a door here, but there's not. It's not like totally sealed off like a wall. It was weird. So that one, for some reason, that imagery really stuck with me. So yeah, lions in my head refers to the lion dream, and you like the kind of, I kind of like the way I sung it, and I like the instruments, and, like, the song itself, like, I don't know, the music of it. I do like the kind of, like droney kind of, like, string things in there, and, like, I really like once it gets to the solo-y bit of, like, that cool, like, metal, whatever it's called, metal sound, synth effect thing. I think that sounded really cool with that. And I liked playing around with little, like, blips and bloops on the synth, like, blip things. I don't know. I think it came together pretty well, and I do like that it kind of just goes into the cool music-y, like, bit at the end of it to go, like, oh man, it's like, this is cool. It's kind of trippy. So I still like this one quite a bit. And that's Lions in My Head. And I'm sure you could connect it to something with me being the star sign of a Leo, but I wouldn't, because my name is Sam, motherfucker. That's good. Well, end it on profanity. That's how you make a good clip.
Me bounty, why me bounty?
Bounty Hunted is about an old bounty hunter who realizes that they went around, killing people for money, and then kind of realizes that, well, now that I made a reputation of going around killing all these people, even though it was for bounties and whatnot, I can't really be too upset when people start coming after me when the bounty is put on my head. I deserve this. I'm done. I give this up. It's only fair that it happens to me now too. That kind of thing. Playing off the cliche Western kind of thoughts. I use that theme a lot, I feel like. And also kind of like the title of it being like Bounty Hunted. Because it's like it's like what you did. You bounty hunted. You used to do that. And now the bounty hunter becomes the bounty hunted. Like, I don't know. I kind of like that play on the title. So that's an example of how to do a good title for a song. Instead of one that has nothing to do with fucking anything, much less this, not the least of which is the song. The instruments and stuff, whatever, it's okay. It just kind of sounded westerny, and then I kind of went from there and came up with this, and it ends on kind of a weird tone, because it doesn't feel like it resolves well, it's just kind of like stops. So that was kind of strange, like a transition you would hear in like a TV show. It's like, there's a transition music, like, what's happening? Oh no, and here's they're going to go into the next thing, and it's like, dun, dun, dun. But I should have ended it on the tidbit of the bounty hunter becomes the bounty hunted.
Meaningless. Meaningless. Meaningless.
Art is something I've kind of done. I feel like I've done a few times at this point. But it's this idea that like, it's kind of looking at that really nebulous definition of art, and the idea that anything can be art. Everything is art if you because it's so subjective that if you believe it is, then it is, right? You can find art in anything, and it's basically saying like all the lyrics in the song are just like kind of meaningless. But the idea that they can mean something if you get something out of them, it's kind of built that way. So I've sung it very lazily with really strange lyrics, some of which kind of address that, self-aware lyrics in that sense. The music itself is okay, but it also kind of just like lazes around, and it's like, it's a weird like pseudo-intellectual lounge song kind of vibe going on. Also interestingly, when I'm recording these, when I'm talking about the artwork at the end, I always just save that file. Usually it's just like as art, because I'm talking about the artwork. But because this song is called Art, I'm gonna have to not call it that, because otherwise these will have the same file name, and I can't do that. That's a behind the scenes of the thing you're already watching too. Isn't it great? You're just getting so much information, knowledge being shared. It's like the art of knowing.
Well, we found the answers we were looking for.
Uncomfortable Couch is another really shitty title, because it doesn't really tell you fuck all about what the song is about. But it's really just about like this idea of like we're spending a lot of our lives, a lot of our time living, trying to figure out what the point of living is and what the meaning of life is. And in doing so, we think so much. It's like, okay, well, we're like, when we have like something somewhat figured out, it's like, okay, well, let's keep asking more questions. We can't find answers, then it's like, how do we know what to think now? We got to keep looking, and we're not actually spending that time really living our lives and enjoying our lives. It's kind of built around that idea, and that really a lot of these things are really basic. That's why the end part's like born, live, die. That's the main part we need to understand. That's important, and then we need to kind of create our own like sense of like worth and value in what we're doing. That's kind of what I was getting at with the song anyway. There's lots of ways you can think about that, and the ways you can apply that, ways you can counter that for sure. But that was kind of the thought, and it's also you can hear the fan rattling because my fan rattles sometimes, especially when it's on for a while and it starts to rattle. So you can hear that in the background for the first part. But I like some of the instruments kind of slowly layering over each other. And I like that. Then you get the born, live, die part once the drums come in for that. That's cool. It ends maybe a bit quick after that happens, but still kind of interesting.
Hey, how do you do? Hey, how do you do? Hey, how do you do?
Misleading Title is accurately titled because it, again, doesn't tell you anything about fuck. This one is just me saying nonsense that I thought sounded cool. I just repeat it over and over, and I have multiple voices of me saying those things. And yet somehow it's still really catchy. Like, it's not really about anything. It's just like pretty simple music thing repeating, and then my lyrics repeating, and me having multiple voices of that. And in the end, it's kind of doing some kind of fun little instrumental stuff with like electric piano playing around a bit, and then it ends. It has no right to be as catchy and good as it is. But I still like it. It should suck. It should suck so much fuck. But you know what? It's okay. And that, I mean, I don't even know if that's okay, that it is okay. But I'm okay with it. One More closes out the album on a really warming note. Kind of this happy, bass line going on, and I really like the really cheesy horn. I like the little horn solo thing that happens after the first like verse thing, and that huge gap, and then it kind of slows down again a bit, and then it goes into like the next like verse. Then it's got like the chorus, I guess, the one more thing, and it's kind of an idea of like, it can be applied to a lot of things. It's kind of like one more song, one more go around, you can say, be like, yeah, like one more drink, one more time. And I don't know, I think it's like, it does sound pretty cheesy, but I do really like the sound of it though. So I don't know, just a interesting little one to throw in there, the way it's composed and the way the tones that are used in it. And overall, yeah, this album, the whole album has just been, it's strange. It was a lot of me, I don't know what to do for a title, I don't know what to do for a song idea, and just kind of doing it anyway. So that the I'm phoning it in makes sense. But I don't know, it's not as bad as I was afraid of it being, I think. So that's cool. Well, that's anything else you want to know, comments, there's links and stuff in the description and whatever, and timestamps. Button is still on. And just thanks for being around for one more. See ya. Alright, so the artwork for I'm Phoning It In was just a hastily drawn old rotary telephone, because you can tell that's a phone. And that's it's just black and white. I just wrote my name in paint. Just free-handed all of that. Shocking, right? which also makes it easier to replicate when you draw it later. Because like if you draw it on like a CD or like on a case or something, like it'll look the same because they're not going to look at every little detail probably. So for the remastered one of this, to clean it up, I've just retraced over all the lines so it's crisper when I saved it in the proper format. That's it. I mean, even the artwork for this thing is phoned in. Well, it's drawn in. Mailed in? Let's say it's fucked in.
How do I sound?